Hello teacher, I to talk about cryopreservation of oocytes. I study in Catholic University, Nursing School, St. Vincent of Paul. My name is Nadia Barriga Mendez, my teacher John Moscoso. Definition: human oocyte cryopreservation is a process in which woman eggs are extracted, frozen and stored later. When she is ready to become pregnant, the eggs can be thawed, fertilized, and transferred to the uterus and embryos.
Oocyte banking is a new, exciting and innovative technology which we started offering in 2007. It's really changed the life of a lot of people, especially girls who are suffering from cancer and have to take chemotherapy and radiotherapy. What happens is with these therapies, the ovaries get damaged, and then when these girls marry later or want to have children later, they do not have any oocytes. So now this is an exciting new technology which we can offer these girls who would undergo ovarian stimulation and then ovum pickup, and these oocytes are frozen, especially in young girls who don't have any partners. We have had a lot of patients with breast cancer coming forward to freeze their eggs, a lot of patients with rectal carcinoma coming forward to freeze their eggs. Another aspect of oocyte banking is also there are a lot of career women today and girls who are busy with their lives and have not found a partner of their choice, and biological clock is ticking by. So some of these girls before the age of 35 do come forward and they freeze their oocytes, so that even if they want to have a child at 40, these oocytes can be thawed and used for pregnancy. So oocyte banking is a very different approach, a novel approach, and with vitrification as a new technology for freezing oocytes, the success rate has definitely gone up and has given a light of hope to these girls who would like to delay their childbearing for a couple of years and not really worry about their biological clock ticking by.
Application in nursing. These procedures is often carried out outside sperm and embryos extra and IVF. It is a well that the cryopreservation in the process throughout which the substance material are frozen so they can be used in the future. Cryopreservation is a fairly simple process, which in general use liquid nitrogen to freeze semen, embryos and ova depending on the particular case.
Have you ever wanted to freeze time to preserve life? Welcome to West Coast Fertility Center's egg freezing program, also known as cryopreservation. Today, more and more women are requesting egg freezing as a method to preserve their healthy, robust eggs and start their families. Since the year 2000, egg freezing research at West Coast Fertility Center laboratories led to the development of the land of freezing technology to induce the smooth transition of freshly harvested oocytes to reach the frozen state. Since then, all egg freezing and thawing procedures at West Coast Fertility are performed under Institutional Review Board oversight and with fully informed consent consistent with ASRM guidelines. Without the protective freezing solutions available today, egg freezing in the 1980s caused damage to the egg membrane and disrupted the egg's vital internal structures. Clearly, a more effective method of egg freezing was needed. At West Coast Fertility Centers, specially formulated solutions resulted in efficient dehydration of the egg as intracellular water is driven outward by osmotic forces. Meanwhile, protective cryoprotectant solutions pass inward through the cell membrane during a carefully programmed fluid exchange. This leads to a 30% reduction in the egg's volume. After reaching equilibrium between the internal and external fluid environment, the fragile egg cell and its internal organelles are ready to withstand the rigors of supercooling, reaching temperatures of minus 196 degrees Celsius. At this level, all molecular activity stops and the egg viability can be maintained indefinitely. Using our Lambda freezing technology, we have demonstrated that the DNA shown in blue, the meiotic spindle shown in green, and the mitochondria shown in red remain intact during freezing and thawing. When frozen eggs are ready to be thawed and fertilized, the Lambda thawing solutions result in rehydration without damaging the egg's fragile internal structures. The final egg re-expansion culminates in the return of a transparent spherical egg capable of undergoing insemination by the sperm cell. We use the ICSI sperm injection technique to overcome the chemical and physical changes that occur in the outer zona membrane as a result of the egg freezing process. Following ultrasound-guided egg harvest, the eggs are incubated for about 2 hours and then examined by the embryologist. Maturity is confirmed by observing a round symmetrical egg cell with a center consisting mostly of water. A small polar body at the periphery indicates the egg is ready to begin the freezing sequence. The Lambda technique allows multiple eggs to be processed sequentially through 4 solutions containing different concentrations of protective fluids at specific temperatures that will induce the exchange of water and cryoprotectants. This close-up view illustrates a human egg suspended in the Lambda freezing solutions. Notice how the egg cell gradually shrinks as internal water is exchanged with the protective chemical fluids. The prepared eggs are now precisely loaded into carefully labeled straws. Fluid and air columns isolate the eggs from sudden changes in temperature and shield them from contamination. This drawing shows the precise location of the eggs within the freezing straw. Note the location of the name tag to ensure correct identification. Each step brings the eggs closer to the freezing ramp and the final plunge into liquid nitrogen. This part takes about 15 minutes. The straws containing the eggs are positioned in a programmable freezer that is set at a predetermined freezing protocol to chill the eggs to minus 7 degrees Celsius. The computer program can be set to a specific protocol to freeze either embryos or eggs. At minus 7 degrees, a process called seeding is activated by touching the chilled straw with very cold forceps to initiate slush particles that gradually move toward the egg chamber. This ensures the gradual spread of the cold wave advancing toward the eggs. Further chilling continues in the freezer to minus 37 degrees Celsius, culminating in the final plunge of the straw into liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees Celsius. The egg freezing and thawing experience at West Coast Fertility is depicted here. The data show the outcome of our egg freezing program between 2005 and 2010. We are pleased to report that our clinic has one of the largest series of live births in the world, with 60 healthy children born from 121 egg thaws. Egg freezing is recommended in the following. 1. Young women diagnosed with cancer who wish to preserve their fertility before cancer treatment. 2. Women less than 38 years of age wishing to delay fertility due to personal or career goals. 3. Patients undergoing in vitro fertilization who prefer freezing extra eggs instead of embryos. 4. Women whose best option for pregnancy is with young frozen donor eggs. A live birth registry is maintained at West Coast Fertility to follow the health of the children born after egg freezing. No birth defects have been reported in any of our 60 healthy children, and our first frozen egg baby is almost 6 years old. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed your journey through the egg freezing world. For my staff and I, there is nothing more gratifying here at West Coast Fertility Centers than to see the creation of new families using our state-of-the-art Lambda freezing technology.
Pros and cons. Pros. A cryopreservation for the embryo transfer is advised in patients where obtaining eggs is complicated, either way did lack a pre-treatment treatment long, different due to the failures or even enjoying and conversion. By the woman, the probability of pregnancy increases because the eggs may be stored indefinitely until it is the right time for the implementation. The cons: a major disadvantage of this method is that the chance of success of pregnancy after insemination with eggs previously frozen is reduced almost halfway through the process with fresh eggs.
So oocyte cryopreservation, or commonly known as egg freezing, is a recent technologic advance that allows us to freeze eggs or oocytes from the woman. Essentially what it is, it's kind of evening the playing field for women. Data shows that women, particularly college age and above, about 40 to 50% of them in their reproductive age don't have children. Not necessarily because they don't want to have children, because the pressures of life, of education, and career directly confront them, and it's difficult to find a time that's appropriate or allowable to have children. And so the idea with oocyte cryopreservation is a woman in her reproductive years, preferably her earlier reproductive years, can undergo an IVF cycle, in vitro fertilization cycle, and then we can collect the oocytes and cryopreserve them or freeze them. And these oocytes or eggs will actually outlive you and me in cryopreservation. So then when she's ready, either when she has an appropriate time in her career or has a partner that with which she's comfortable, can then go forward and have those oocytes thawed and then expose them to the sperm and go forward and have children. So it allows her to have children in the 40s and the 50s if she wants to. I think most women are using this now as it's a little bit of a technology game changer, but as I said, it's evening the playing field and allows them to kind of make those decisions. Quite honestly, reproduction hasn't caught up to our lives and careers, quite frankly. With a cancer patient, the eggs are cryopreserved, and then quite often when the woman, the survivor, gets through her chemotherapy and has been cleared, then she can go back and use those oocytes. And so then she either is using donor sperm or her partner's sperm, and then the sperm is introduced into the eggs. The egg fertilizes just as a normal egg would fertilize. It grows, and then it's transferred back to a prepared uterus, and the rest is a natural pregnancy.
Issue applied in Ecuador. The Latin American Network of Assisted Reproduction reports a clinical pregnancy rate obtained in the case when the use of the cryopreserved over 18%, the same as vary according to the age of the recipient woman, while rate in the implementation per embryo of about 7%.
Donated eggs frozen and used for in vitro fertilization lead to live births less often than those who have never been frozen, though researchers said the difference between the two is small. Researchers at the Center for Human Reproduction in New York reviewed data from the 380 fertility centers in the United States, which are responsible for 92% of all IVF cycles. The research is from 2013, the first year the American Society for Reproductive Medicine said that oocyte cryopreservation, or freezing donated eggs, was no longer considered an experimental procedure. In 2013, the researchers found that about 20% of the 11,148 IVF cycles performed that year used preserved eggs.
Conclusion: cryopreservation itself has always played a central role in assisted reproductive technology, with the first cryopreservation of sperm in 1953 and of the embryos 30 years later. These techniques have become routine. Dr. Christopher Chen of Singapore reported the world's first pregnancy in 1986 using previously frozen oocytes.
in addition to embryo freezing, which has become very routine and has contributed well over 500,000 children from IVF procedures since the inception of IVF therapy several decades ago, it has been somewhat of an elusive goal to attempt to routinely freeze the human oocyte, or the human egg, the unfertilized egg. The egg is exquisitely sensitive to the freezing procedure, and it's for this reason that we've struggled over the decades to achieve routine success with this approach. It has been a goal of mine and also GRS's to improve on the protocols that have been published, and we have developed a successful approach to egg freezing referred to as vitrification, which is routinely giving us well over 65% survival of all eggs that we actually freeze and cryostore. The beauty of egg cryopreservation is, and will be increasingly, the ability for us to limit the number of eggs that we inseminate, so we can actually cryostore the balance of eggs so that we limit the generation of the number of embryos for any given couple. We will be able to routinely freeze and store donated eggs so that we can just thaw out those that we need to donate to any recipients, women unfortunate enough not to be able to have healthy eggs of their own. And for another very important area of therapy, we will be able to store and perhaps preserve the fertility of those women about to undergo extensive chemo or radiotherapy.
Thank you.